Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is time for another semi-final day here at ECS, season number 8, live from Santa Monica. We've got European action for you. We've got North American action for you. That comes later. The European action comes first. We'll see you'll be swinging into the final tomorrow with our second semi-final here in Europe. I am once again joined by DDK to my left. I'm joined by Valen to my right. Gentlemen, I've got some information for you. I've got some news. "420 days since we could draw a map." I don't know, 420 means things to some people, doesn't mean much to me. But it does mean that it's another day that we haven't been able to draw on the map. We haven't been able to illustrate on the map, people. It's 420 days. If this is significant for you, you're welcome to take a screenshot, tweet it to the CSGO devs. They know, but we have to remind them. We have to remind them that the people want to draw on a map. The people need to draw on a map. So we will always start with this because it is very important, but now we can continue with the rest of the show. Once again, it is a European semi-final coming up first. We can have a look at the bracket and see what the status quo is for this current week of action. Week number 4, day number 3. Astralis find themselves in the final. It's a 2-0 party for them. Mix did take them to overtime in the first map, but they overcame that challenge, excuse me, and a 2-0 phase in a very stompy match yesterday. Today we have Big versus Trick. Big's path to the bracket is disappeared now, never mind. I wasn't finished with the bracket, damn it. Thank you very much. North lost to Big 2-0 and Heretics lost to... See, I said Heretics, not Heretics. You see? I'm evolving, Dan. Anyway, they lost to Trick 2-0, so we do find ourselves with Big versus Trick, and that is today's semi-final. What do you guys think from what you've seen so far from Big? I don't know if you saw Big on the first day because we had the Bears here. No, we watched Trick, didn't we? On the first day, I think we did. Anyway, yeah. Big and Trick. Trick have been really interesting. Their CT sides have been quite notable. Big have been kind of swingy with their results and like even maps in a series. They'll win one kind of convincingly, then lose one convincingly for the other team. It just like swings back and forth, but they're making a run.
I think Trick, their map pool is probably evolving every match. So you can't sleep on Hunden. I feel like he's gonna bring that team up. There's something in that water in Denmark.
Yeah, no kidding. Every Danish team just has multiple layers to them. I love how it is something about the culture in Denmark when it comes to how they play CS at the upper echelons. The expectation to play that level is tactics and strategy is like at the forefront of how you play Counter-Strike. Whereas I feel like in most other regions, people think of mechanics first, being able to shoot people first, which makes sense. But yeah, that's one of the things that they bring to the table. However, I think one of the issues that they have, it reminds me of the old North lineup that had MSL on it, where they would struggle, where they would be extremely over-prepared almost, and they would be very reliant on a structure. If something goes wrong, if the other team disrupts them, if anything happens, then it all kind of collapses. And sometimes I see glimpses of that with Tricked, but yeah, they're really impressive, and I think more teams should be like them.
That's a nice comment from Dan there. Let's have a look at the veto and see where these two teams will be playing. It's a best of 3, of course. The whole bracket is a best of 3, and it's to make it to Arlington, which we'll talk about in a second. Arlington near Dallas in Texas. So Mirage and Vertigo are the auto vetoes. Overpass is a great start for things. Dust 2 has been a common occurrence this week, and Train will be the decider should it be required. Inferno and Nuke as the late bans for Tricked and Big respectively. Well, here we are. A nice set of maps, always nice to see Overpass. I think it's a great test to see where teams are. I think it's one of the best maps in the pool at the moment.
Yeah.
We did see some comments, mentioned it in a North American show yesterday. Elijah was saying that if Mirage is removed before Vertigo is, our map pool isn't going to be amazing, which I think is fair to say. Vertigo is kind of like the second born child. It's, not going to be the favorite anytime soon. But anyway, Overpass, Dust 2 and Train, those are the maps. Now, this is a weird one. In terms of predictions, it's odd because Big brand-wise have been playing like a higher tier of Counter-Strike, but Tricked, I kind of want to say look more consistent.
Big are having problems. They're having a lot of issues with leadership, with still feels like Xantares is not Zantaris on this team, who's something else, and then you have Smooya coming back in, and it doesn't seem like the fit is there still. And it seems like most of their games, Tabson has to carry them to success, but he's also the IGL, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I think my sentiment's kind of the same. It happens to a lot. You have a star player coming into a new team, and for some reason they can't quite figure out how to use them the same way. But I think partially it has to do with the comms, right? I mean, you can be the greatest player in the world, but if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing when you're supposed to do it, your skill's not going to bail you out most of the time.
Yeah, it's a weird one because I think that they have enough talent on the team to scrape through a best-of-3 series. And so I think in this particular matchup, it's almost a 50-50 for me in that respect, because you just don't know if they can win the match, but you don't know if they're going to win the match. It's hard to predict them to do so. So I think that Tricked are more stable in that respect. So in terms of predictions, I'm going to lean towards Tricked. But I do want to note that they could entirely win the series. It's just hard to know when they're going to win a series or not with how they are playing at the moment in terms of the swingy map-to-map situation.
Do you know about Acor?
I know who he is. Okay. He's an opper, but
yeah.
What should I know about him that I don't know?
He's sick. he's not just an opper, and he's a superstar. He's a superstar.
Yeah,
he's really good.
In the making, he's super good.
Yeah.
I think when you watch him, you can see his level is beyond everybody else on his team for sure. But oh, look at this, James. Apparently you've did this happen? Did you do this?
Yeah, I was talking.
Yeah.
About the prediction.
Oh, right, okay.
And then I said I think Tricked are going to win, and then they put Tricked under my name because that's what I said.
I see.
That's the thing that just happened.
Because this happens.
That long period of conversation, you just I don't even want to know what you're thinking about. Dan, but there you go.
Dan, a little bit slower today.
Yeah, that's what he was.
Understand that.
Well, I'm going to go with Tricked as well.
It's a great start to the show, isn't it?
I think they deserve it. They've been playing some great Counter-Strike.
Oh, look, there's a thing that just happened, Dan. Were you just talking about Tricked or something like that?
I'm actually going to go with Big here, and it's because of the map pool a little bit. I think Tricked's map pool is still evolving, and I think Overpass and Dust 2 are two really good maps for Big, historically, even. So I think because of that, this could be a 2-0, but I still would take Big even in a 2-1.
All right, so Sliggy, why are you picking Big?
Pretty much same as Valorant's maps, and yeah, I think honestly Smooth's been whiffing a bit, and I don't think he'll do it today.
Okay, solid analysis from Sliggy there. Oh, we had fun yesterday, man, on the stream. We had Kita from Complexity playing with us. We had some fun times, some wins, some losses. But there we go. We'll see if fellow UK man Smooya can deliver today. It is a weird one. I do think it is very 50-50. I can't wait to see the pinnacle odds, but before that we'll get to the fan predictions. It's one of the interesting matchups in the sense that you really don't know what's going to happen. So what do the people at home think is going to happen? Because I feel like brand power has a lot to do with these kind of things. So like the highs of Big before, like the God Big days, I feel like that those kind of residual results will still be in the minds of people. Not to say that they should be, the percentages should be the other way around, but I can see how, I think in the eyes of the public, brand presence and brand power can skew things like this, where I think it's a hell of a lot closer than those numbers would suggest, but that's fine.
I mean, people know who Big are.
Yeah.
And people don't know who Tricked are.
They're about to know who Tricked are, though.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah. I mean, this I completely agree.
Yeah, and you look at it on paper, and Hunden was a meme on HLTV and so on, so that's whatever. It's good. It means that they're going to be people aren't going to be focusing on them too much. Well, to be honest, I say that only the fans. I think people can easily see how well Tricked are doing and how dangerous they're looking at the moment. But we can have a look at the pinnacle odds and see what they think about this. Ooh, they've got Big as a solid favourite. This is pretty curious to me. I think that there's definitely some value to be had as far as Tricked are concerned. I mean, their output's nasty. They're really fun to watch. A, because of the explosive output, but B, because of the teamwork, and that's important to Dan and I at least. I know that we both are very mentally stimulated by teams playing well. Yeah, exactly. As opposed to like one individual, doing crazy stuff, right? And like dragging the team like a simple or something. I mean, of course that's awesome, but I think the team, like a whole team doing stuff, is just like
more than
it's what the game is. Brings the real beauty of the game to me, at least.
Yep.
Yeah, so here we go. Here are the numbers. And once again, these teams are playing for a spot at the finals in Arlington, Texas. It's just an Uber ride away from Dallas, and there's plenty of meat and protein and just crazy barbecue in Texas, and it's definitely something to be experienced. You can do that if you go to the finals. ECS.FACEIT.com is where you can find the information, and you can find yourself some tickets as well. There may be some discounts out there. Have a look on the FACEIT Twitter or the ECS Twitter. Maybe you'll find one. I could be wrong, but I think there are. If they're not, then tweet me and I'll see what I can do. But there we go. Tickets available for the finals. It's going to be very interesting. Thanksgiving weekend, lots of beer, lots of football to be played. We were lucky enough to be invited by the city to some of us to make it to have a look at the football game last time, which was cool. It was my first football game, and it was one of the biggest ones of the year, so I was quite lucky to do that. I still don't understand. Someone told me once that someone taught me how it works in a Mexican bar in Philadelphia when I was drunk, and I understood it for a while, and then I forgot, because that's what happened when you're drunk. So all those margaritas, that bar is closed now. It's a shame, because they had this like waiter who would walk in. He's kind of short, and he'd have this big tray on his head about that wide with all the drinks on, and he would be doing this and like spinning it on his head and pulling the drinks off. It was epic, but the bar no longer exists, unfortunately. Right then, this is going to be an interesting one. We have North American Counter-Strike coming for you later on as well. But while we wait for the match to start, there's been a lot of conversation today about the current status of the economy, the prevalence of Kriegs in the second round of, when the T's lose a pistol and plant a bomb. There definitely needs to be some price raising. Someone was asking me on my stream who I think the next team to be #1 will be. And I said with current form, it'll probably be NRG, especially, I think maybe it's most likely before the Krieg gets nerfed with how much they're exploiting it. But do you guys have any thoughts on like the economy and the Krieg at the moment?
Yeah, I think even if they don't change the economy, maybe if they just change the damage. I just want to see the Krieg exactly the same, but with Galil damage. I just want to see how that works.
Yeah, or even less bullets or something like that, something
Yeah.
minimal. But I think the economy one's really interesting. I think there's loads of different ways you can go with it, because if you talk about all the things that make a team win a round of Counter-Strike, there's a lot of stuff that's going on. There's lots of ways to gain edges on your opponents, whether that's just like understanding angles better or just simple team play, all these kinds of things. I mean, I feel like look at Astralis, for example. Astralis were still extremely good and besting everybody when the economy was the other way around, and they're still doing it now. I don't think that it has a huge impact on the results. I think it's really just how people want to see the narrative and the flow of the game from a spectator point of view. I think from this, like what Valve have done, is they're trying to give you more rounds to be engaged in. If you're a viewer, and it's a round by round thing. It's not, okay, this round is going to mean something for the next like 3 to 4 rounds. So I think it's just a different philosophy. I don't think that it actually harms the integrity of the competition from what we've seen. Because if so, Astralis would be winning less.
Yeah, it's not like CZ territory, but I do think it's too cheap. I think it is kind of causing problems at the beginning of games with this second round Krieg stuff.
The second round Krieg stuff is
It's too much.
It's quite an issue. But
I think you have to raise the price just for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of solutions for sure. I'm actually really curious, like how they look at it, because sometimes they'll make changes to stuff like, let's say the M4A1's like less bullets, more bullets, this slower rate of fire. There's like so many different ways you can change the variables of a weapon to balance it. So I wonder how Valve think about that sort of thing, because they're also balancing presumably off of the statistics, usage statistics in matchmaking. Is seemingly as impactful for them, and maybe that's because of skins. Maybe it's all money. It all comes down to the money. Who knows?
Well, I mean, maybe that is like a residual of having more guns usable in the game, but I would hope not.
More skins, more money, more
Yeah,
viable.
I would hope not.
Yeah.
Right.
But man, that racing livery skin, I forget what it's called, but for the Krieg is like just the end game. It's the end game Krieg skin. I mean, it's amazing.
The second round thing, I actually have an unpopular opinion of that. I think just because we haven't seen CTs been able to win that second round, just because that's what has been happening, doesn't mean we've seen better ways to play the second round as CTs.
I completely agree. I think Valve. This is actually something Valve are really good at. Valve are actually very good at just waiting to see if people can find a solution.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to just be outraged and shout, bloody murder when something appears, because something's always going to appear crazy until someone creates a solution, and then the balance forms, and then that's a meta now. Now you have something additional in the meta that can evolve, and that can become interesting. So yeah, I think they're really good at that actually. We definitely would like to see the changes very soon, but
I respect what you're saying, but I think that you have such a range advantage, and if you have to spend $1,000 on full armor as a CT in the next round, in most cases, or a lot of cases, I won't say most cases, but in many cases, you're not going to have enough money for Beyond a FAMAS. So you're worse off in a long range duel. So how do you have map control? Or are you forced into increased risk to like make a forward play or something? But that's not rewarding you for winning the round.
I think one thing people haven't tried yet, at least kind of on a larger scale, is maybe you don't buy full head armor on second round against the Kriegs, right? Yeah, of course you're gonna have to battle some people with pistols, but just don't give them a range advantage then. If you feel like they're buying Kriegs, then don't peek window on Mirage as a CT. Then they're gonna clear mid. They're gonna feel like, wait, we don't get any kills. They're gonna feel pressured. So make them feel pressured the same way you guys would make them feel pressured on a normal gun run. See what happens. Don't treat it as a free round.
I feel like we've seen a lot of double Krieg, Galil,
Yep.
Deagle, and then I don't know.
Most people will buy around the Krieg, So the you don't really need the head armor, but even if you get it, just don't give up that free kill. See what happens.
Yeah, I agree. I think some players are very stubborn, actually, in approach for trying to adapt. That's actually something I think the Danish teams are really good at, because they just accept the game for whatever it is and they find solutions. Whereas I find that there are a lot of teams. I mean, let's just like take Nika with the Org when the Org was really sick. He's like, I don't want to use this weapon. It's like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? They kind of have to just get to roll with it at this point. So I'm curious if someone does as you say and optimizes things. It's really interesting, like for us, because we watch everything. We're not as invested in the same way, and so we do actually get to see. We spend more time being able to see what potential solutions might be, and we get to run all the theory and stuff. And setting it up in practice is obviously requires a lot more time and investment. So curious if someone will do that. But the other thing too is that the SMGs are so good. This is like another thing that like changed the game. When people figured out the UMP was really good. If you remember back then, it's like $1,200. So we can play Inferno and have full utility in a lot of situations we couldn't have before, and we can play within ranges that are super good for the UMP. Okay, now everything's changed, and the MP9 people have been really understanding how to abuse that now. The fact that you have all these advantages, you have such fast movement speed, your swings, your wide swings are so insane. So there's definitely solutions. Maybe it's maybe it is more abuse of the MP9s in certain spots. Maybe it's just completely map dependent. It's hard to say. That's the other thing too. How you design a map, really impacts how strong certain buys may or may not be. Like the Krieg buy on Inferno, for example, it's not really nearly as scary as on Dust 2 or Mirage. So yeah, Counter-Strike's an interesting one. A lot of different ways we can go with this.
Counter-Strike is interesting.
Are we going to have any Counter-Strike today, James?
One of the tricks players is restarting his PC, so that is why we have a delay at this point. But we will soon. Oh, okay. There you go. There's a Chinese abacus.
Yes, perfect.
So it has a book with instructions, and there are too many pages to read. I look at that. I look at the abacus, I'm like, yeah, I'm interested. I look at the manual, I'm like, I'm not interested. So there we go. It's a Chinese abacus.
This is a bunch of pistol rounds going on.
It's a knife round, actually.
Knife round.
Ooh, we got the fade. Let me see the fade.
That looks nice.
Hashtag 00000. That would mean black, wouldn't it? Yeah, hash FFFFFF is white, and hash 6 zeros is black. But he's got all the zeros on there. I don't know why. Maybe he just wants a funky name tag. So yeah, like,
looks cool.
On the classic knife, the name tag goes on the top rather than the bottom. I need to see more of this classic knife.
Isn't it crazy that for like one of those knives you could buy like a car in real life?
It is crazy.
You could
But we live in a consumerist world.
You could buy a car, James.
Or a watch.
You know what you can do with a car?
Or a watch.
Or more skins.
Yeah.
It's a combustion engine.
It's not bad, but I feel like... You know what, the fade... I think the fade is always a nice skin on every knife.
That's a... What knife is that again?
Classic knife.
Oh, it's a... Oh, I see. Oh, right, because the little pattern is kind of...
I like that.
That one looks really good, actually.
That might be my favorite skin for the classic so far.
Yeah, it looks great.
Outside of the vanilla, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That one's for sure. That's the classic.
Oh, we're missing a player. I went straight for the classic. Boom! Look at that. Great observing. I went straight for the vanilla classic knife. I have this one as well. No, that's a case hardened. Mine's a blue steel. I have one of those. Mine's a fade. I've got one of those as well. I don't have one of those. Well, I kind of technically do. I also have one of those, but a fade.
Anyone know how to say SJUUSH's name?
Shush.
It's a shush?
Mm-hmm. I don't
Why
have
doesn't
one
he
of those.
just use an H then, instead of the J?
Because he's
Danish.
from Denmark. And that's how you... like in Swedish, James is James.
That's true. It's
Yeah.
jumping, not jumping.
So you got a thing going on. Yes. All right, then. We're now into the pistol. Strix will start on their fabled, almost iconic CT sides.
It almost looked like a knife, another knife round. Everyone's going towards like connector and fountain. Look at this stack, connector stack. This is cool.
I like this. This is a nice little. If they take mid, CTs are gonna win.
Santaris has no idea what he's about to reveal over here in connector. And well, maybe he does. He's going to get one kill. The trade comes through and they understand the setup. Does that trigger a push into the B-bomb site, knowing there's lots of players here? They just try to fight it out. And Shush will take down 2. App's name for the USP. Now we'll have Tabson, the last man standing, against 4. Nice. Gets a little dink. The Glock. Just gonna go for the plant. Get that Krieg by confirmed.
Creek Party is open. Get the hats on, get the streamers out.
It's 1-1 already. They already know.
Yeah. Well, Bubskid and Roger get the cheap helmet. Untouched. But Bubskid will still go for the FAMAS. He'll get the utility. But that's 3-5 with a USP and connector. You don't see that every day. Pretty unique. So Trick to get off to a good start. Where's the gold FAMAS at? We've got the knives out. Bubsky's got a FAMAS, but is it the gold one? It would go so well with his knife. The gold FAMAS is slept on. We haven't seen a single one yet in a professional match. I'm disappointed.
Hold the phone. Where are the Kriegs?
Oh, there's no creeks. There's an alternate reality.
Where are the Kriegs? Just
Bigger on the wrong channel.
This is 2018.
They're playing their own game, perhaps. So they've gone only for Desert Eagles to do damage instead of the Creek buy. I'm interested. I like it when you don't have the copy pasta and people will make their own pasta, if you will. And bigger teams will make their own pasta.
It's not. It doesn't look al dente though, James. Not too much happening here. It's looking soft.
Soft like a wet blanket. Or just a blanket. But a wet one's undesirable, which is why a wet blanket. If I have to explain it, it's not a good analogy, is it?
Unless you're trying to put out a fire, James, then maybe you want to go for the wet blanket.
I remember scrimming against Big when we were in Europe, and they did these weird buys where 4 rounds they didn't buy.
For 4 rounds they wouldn't buy.
They would half buy.
They would half buy.
They
For
would
4
half buy
rounds
for
in a
4
row.
rounds in a row, and 5th round was their full buy. They
And
tried
on-
that for a while.
At the beginning of a half?
Yep.
Or just in the middle of a half?
No, beginning of the half.
Okay.
Were
So they were experimenting with their economy, basically. That's nice to see.
they saving money though? Like when
I
they
hope so.
when they're doing that. Okay,
That's
so you're
what
saying
half
a
buy
full.
is.
It's just half buys.
That's what he said.
Just okay.
You're not doing a very good job of
No,
listening
I'm
to
just
your
trying to-
fellow commentators today.
I'm just trying to figure out what the.
He was odd.
What a
Yeah.
half buy is? Bloody hell, Dan. Roche falls by the fountain. And we've got a wide swing from Hunden. This is a wild start to the round from Trick. Ooh, a tag, but frags are what's required. Just now with a UMP. Okay, well, just it's dry peak central from Trick, and they're looking pretty ashy with only 1 frag. Big get a simple enough round on the board. And that's put the money in a not great spot for Trick, so they won't have the best defense if they choose to buy here. Very awkward situation for them pretty early. That was a wild swing from Hunden. You normally only see that on an eco round.
Why would you only half? I'm just trying to work out, like, it doesn't make sense. Can't see it perceivable.
Well, maybe they had to test it to find out that it doesn't make sense, you know? Someone had, what about if we did this? Maybe it's like a calculation long term of what their monetary situation would be, win versus lose. If they felt like having a full buy gave them a better chance of winning on a long term rather than a buy where you're lacking the odd grenade or something.
The only thing I can think of is just if you're doing like purpose buys, you know, it's like it's okay. We don't need to spend all the money. We don't need to buy that extra AK because for the round we want to run, actually it's better to have a couple black tents. It's better to have. Do you need full nades? No, you only need a flash and a smoke for this play that we're doing.
They wouldn't be saving for 4 rounds then.
It was weird because the reason we knew they were testing something out is that even when they won the first 2 rounds, on the 3rd and 4th round, they would still be half buying. Like they would keep whatever they had on 2nd round, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But even if those guys died, they would rebuy against our full buys with half buys.
Was it on a specific side?
It was their T side.
On the T side.
Yeah.
Well then, yeah. If they're trying to execute something with a minimal purchase to see how reliable it can be.
This was also when Gabi was on the team still.
Well, that's interesting. Like if you're thinking like, I mean, but partly scrims are people trying things out, right?
Yeah.
So it might not be that they're saving per se, but it's like they're simulating a round repeatedly. Because that's why when people say, oh, you know, we're doing great in scrims and stuff, I'm like, well, that doesn't mean you're going to do great in a real match because you don't know you don't necessarily appreciate what your opponent is trying to achieve in that scrim.
I have some thoughts about that later that I'll bring up. Making practice productive and how you should simulate. So I think it's something that's not really optimized yet.
We've got the Suez take coming in from Bubsky. It's a 2-2 scoreline here. So this is a pretty impactful moment for both teams to try to assert themselves, get economy control and all the rest of that. We've got the monster push that will be inevitably coming soon for Big.
Nostril flash.
And Tizian will be the first man in. Looking for those entries. Shoots at, oh, getting shot from door, and that doesn't allow him to really peek into the bomb site, but it looks like it might be okay here because Big are going to lose 2 players. Acor's up above with the AWP. He doesn't tend to really miss much, so that's a good that's a good spot to be in if you're tricked. Xantares, really the mission here is just to get some kills, get some damage. Tricked are looking strong.
Seeing Xantares here for Space Soldiers so many times, absolutely wrecking people. Great best of 5s versus pro, trying to qualify for previous ECS seasons, but now he's in a really sticky situation. Looking for an ace, 30 seconds on the clock, 2-man push. Not going to allow him to sit there and make a play. And they will finish off the job. Tricked losing 2 players. But an overall plus for them.
I wonder if Xantares is the only top player that's using mouse acceleration in a noticeable way. I wonder if there's any others.
The only players I'm aware of at all that I can recall, I believe Makalele was using it. I don't know if he still does. And Xantares, but that's it. I don't know of any other player. Not to say that no other player does, but it's not something I look at. You know, it's not really listed in the config per se. So
Yeah. I do wonder to some extent the you know, discussion around the economy, wanting it to be like it was before, if that is kind of just we want it to be like it was in the old days, / you know, not willing to see any evolution, or feeling as though there shouldn't be any evolution.
it was easy to tell stories relating to the economy before. I think you could tell stronger stories.
I think there's also blowout games though. That's the other issue with it.
Yeah, but
Like
I don't know that
blowouts.
the change in economy really changed that. You still had blowout games.
I actually like what Big did here. Really, really subtle, but they opened the door and Xantares was posted on short for a while, and then they pressured monsters. So if they want to re-clear short feed the CTs, they walk right into an op. And I think that's it didn't work out because the CTs didn't push, but I like that a lot.
Appreciation for the detail there from Valence. Always nice. Nice spray. This position is not naded enough, really, where Bubsky is standing. There are Molotovs in touch for it. Tabson going to get taken out with next tier to trade. Spots Bubsky around the smoke. And here's the swing. Two-man swing from Connector. Those are the last two players. Smuya must deliver now. There's a great flick from him. Gets his bell rung, but delivers the frag. And it's 3-3. Trick's money is not in the greatest of situations. Looks like it might be a rough finish to a good start. I'll say finish, there's still a lot of rounds to come, but their money isn't in a great place right now.
Sliggy was right. Smuya isn't whiffing.
Hashtag Sliggy.
So we get the force from Trick. It's going to go all the way in here. I wonder what they'll be going for, you know, as far as strategies are concerned. Because this is the thing about Overpass, what's so interesting is that there's loads of different options for you in terms of if you want to get aggressive. Or if they wanted to try to stack and gamble that way. Even if you stack towards one bomb site, you still get options for pretty awesome aggressions, which can be impactful, like, you know, sewers takes, trying to pressure monster. Or on the ace of the map, of course, you can push pretty much everything as well. Could try to, you know, go for a deep, like a 4-man setup towards Fountain or something like that. You know, it's just so much room to work with. What would you like to see, Valens? You know, what would be a cool option?
So far, they've been playing pretty passive. Besides that first, like I think it was the third round where they all played kind of up near party. So I think a little mixture of maybe mid-round aggression is what we need to be seeing here. I think right now you can't be playing full passive, and you shouldn't also always rely on early round aggression. So a little bit more of a balance. Let's see what they can do. Maybe push long A a little bit late. Maybe try to re-clear short B. Mid-round, you have the guns for it as well. Not a great buy on the CTs, so something like that, I'm sure, is in the forecasts.
Santorez has some loss issues, which is why there is a pause. On a side note, FACEIT released some AI tools today called Minerva. So, for people being toxic in games, there is an AI which will automate bans and has been learning for months. There's a blog about it. I retweeted the link, or you can look on the face Twitter.
Nice.
It's interesting if you like the tech stuff. It's a partnership with Google.
Love to see that.
And there is a strong push from Trick, a lot of map control in the short term, and a rifle collected, which is super important. Awesome. Big's response is to head towards long A. Don't know how many players they saw on a def cam though.
What a beautiful start from Trick. You know, they do go for an aggression. Pans out because they pick up the... They're just lucky to find the lurk in this play, and that gives them a gun. And they just go for an instant rotation, and they had already had such a deep position towards B that they have ample warning and rotation time back to B. So this is like a fantastic spot to be in for Tricks. And Big, really, they're in a lot of trouble. They're going to have to try to execute onto the A site. And Bubsky, that's not a good look. Walking in the gap, into the gap and getting taken down.
Into the gap.
It's a gun for A core though, so there is that. He doesn't have any Kevlar though, and another pick comes through. That's unfortunate. I feel like Trick didn't have to move. But here comes the push.
Standing in the smoke as they swing. Maybe trying to play against the time. Does he creep from one smoke to another? He's got a sound cube. Comes out, doesn't quite see where the T's are though. It was a gamble to be made there. 27 seconds for the bomb to be planted. Where is Shush? Looking towards the bank. Nothing found just yet. This is the rifle they picked up at the beginning around Monster, I do believe. You can see his CZ in the hole. I don't think he'll be going for it.
They had everything working for them. Everything.
Not a fan of how they played out that round.
Yeah.
They got the early pick B. They knew Monster was clear. Instead of rotating and playing for A and early info B, they smoked off long A, walked into the gap, but they also didn't rotate towards B from A. Instead, Hunden pushed, I think it was the highway area, short A. A little bit of an odd movement, rotation.
They had like the perfect situation. They knew they knew the site to stack. If it was going to change, if Big decided to rotate, they would have enough warning to have a defense on the other side. Like, it's one of those things too about doing too much. Sometimes you kind of feel like you have to be doing something all the time, and they were set up. They were ready to go. So that's unfortunate for Tricks. But they do have the AK. Maybe they can turn this AK into some damage. Suez coming through very quickly here for Tizian. Taking control of that for his team. And now just getting, waiting for some information. Absent looking to creep up onto the B-bomb side. Ooh, okay. He's gonna find absolutely nothing here. Good nade. Are they gonna commit? Keep committing forward so you know that the stack is here. Another thing comes through. Starts to get a little bit worrying now. Roger takes down a player as well. Important duel 1, but that AK is still on that B-bomb site, so it's in heaven. They will continue to commit, and another headshot. It's committing into the stack again and again. All the time in the world to play with still. Have the bomb on Smooya. Just go forward with the block. It's a 1v1 now. This is very worrying for Big. So much damage done. But he only has a USP, but he gets a dink. One more dink's all that's needed, and Smooya barely clutches that one.
3 kills with a block when he had the op, because he knew they had no head armor.
Yeah,
I like that. Presence of mind. I think Tapson's going to be unhappy with that first death. If you're going to be entering on Monster, you should be methodically clearing your angles out, especially that early. He kind of just went from clearing barrels to wanting to clear bridge right away.
Yeah.
Got to clear barrels, right side pillar, top default, then bridge. So I think he's going to be a little bit unhappy. Probably he's going to fix that up if he walks on Monster again.
Yeah, maybe overconfident. So he told me the other day that he thinks that the peaks coming in onto the B-bomb site from Monster is the most the most favorable positions in the game because there's so many bright-eyed peaks for you. And they're getting aggressive setup here for Tricked. And they are doing pretty well actually. They've got the bomb under control at the moment. Next will try to push his way in. Bubsky will take him down in the 1v1 though. And Acor is around the corner with the AWP, so he's also a really annoying presence that Big have to deal with if they want to get the bomb. I believe the bomb is now available to be collected, and Smee is going to grab that. Oh my goodness, that was a big chance. Acor, lucky to be alive. And we'll see what part that has to play as the round continues, and Big this time will rotate towards B. But the problem is, she says now a forward position towards the sewers. They understand that Big had to invest everybody to get the bomb back under control. So that's position gained by Mr. Shush.
I would love to see them get spotted by Shush and then just sprint knife out into B, because that's always how the rotation will play in this 3vx. When the CTs have 3, they're never going to play a guy in B. So I'd be curious to see how fast they react if they do spot Shush.
Looks like they are just going to walk through Monster. They don't see anything just yet. The mollies of barrels. Okay, now so they understand what's coming. Tricked. Acor in position with York. Very nice flick. And now Smooya's alone. He's got an AWP as well. He's going to try to bait out Acor. Gets a nice flick himself, but there's 2 more players to go, and there's no time to do it. Don't think they can collect the AWP in time, so there is some damage from Smooya, and they can't repurchase that AWP, so that's a pretty big kill, but the money is looking pretty ropey for Big. They can get by on some drops, though, but very unfortunate round for Big. But well played by Trick. They're really pulling out the aggression now.
Big should be talking about how they want to handle the aggression here. Every time Trick has had a mixed buy, they've done something pretty aggressive early on. So I think we'll probably see a default round out of Big, handle the aggression, and then go from there if they decide to buy.
All the guns on the floor. I say all the guns. I don't think anything's been dropped yet. Deciding what to do with the money, maybe? Smia has a bunch of cash in the bank. Maybe it'll be the hero AWP. No, here come the drops. 2 AKs dropped by Smooya. He will retain his AWP. And this is a dangerous buy. Both teams don't really have much left. So this is a key round to turn things around. 3 players heading towards the B-bomb site. It's a great fast boost from Roger. The door blown off as well to play with later, but hasn't all gone the way they would have liked. 4 versus 4 for Big. Centaurus moves out of the connector position.
Could have been so much worse for Big. Could have been a 5v3 right now, but here comes the push. Bowski. Oh, that's a fantastic spray. He gets both. That's the bomb spotted as well, so the rotation comes in now. It's a guaranteed B push as far as Tricked are concerned, and Bubsy's got position in around by the barrels, so they're in great stead here. Forced back out to try to do the damage, as now he's the last man standing. Taps and doing damage. Oh, Bubsky's finished it off with more spray. Another 2k for the quad kill. That's fantastic from him.
So many flashes from his teammates as well. Really making it awkward for Big to push and get an angle on the barrels. I think 4 flashes came in there once he started moving forward. Pretty solid stuff. So Centaurus blind from Acor's flashes.
He's gotten so many flashes from his teammates.
Yeah.
Supporting him.
Yeah, he had flashes for days.
Show us the effective flashes, Slicky.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
6 from Bubsky.
9 from Hunden. Let's go, Hunden!
Man like Hunden. Utility god. Wait till I tell you the story of trying to throw smokes on Mirage yesterday. Oh man. Keeps it exposed to Liggy as well.
Yeah, it is.
It's kind of basically against his religion to learn to use smokes, more or less.
We won the game, James.
We did win the game, but you didn't throw enough smokes. You gotta tick all the boxes, Connor. You can't just tick the big one. Gotta tick the small ones as well. I'm achievement driven.
You gotta think
must
about
be thrown.
how much easier the game could have been if
Do you know what it's like?
Smokes.
It's like when you go outside Buckingham Palace and all the guards are walking together. Okay, I want some unison. I want some coordination. I want to get the bear hats on.
Smokes.
Huh?
In front of Buckingham Palace.
I was trying to. I could. I don't think it would be a good idea, but you know, it's possible. I used to live 14 doors down from Buckingham Palace, on Buckingham Palace Road, when I was a child. When I was but a child. Tricktor in the lead over Big. Short B is important. All the Krieg up close. The ultraviolets. Bubsky can't see Day yet. Acor in a dangerous position, just holding down the monster area. This has got to be scary for Tricked. Centaurus creeping through the smoke, delivers a headshot to Acor, and then Hunden was alone. There'll be no more effective flashes for him in this round. Enemies flashed, rather. I always think effective flashes.
It seems like a chaotic round by Big, but it actually was just people playing off of each other. Tizian takes a chance walking out Monster. That activates the blue guy to look for more kills, and I think this is a round that people think they're kind of doing their own thing, but it's actually pretty coordinated.
That's broken. It has broken Tricked in the short term. Bubsky has a god flash. There'll be some pistols picked up. But where do they set up? Will there be a huddle somewhere? Where is the pop flash shoes? Is it party towards A? Monster smoke.
There's a few different ways to throw that. I don't know which one my favorite is. I like the one that lands closer to the CTs. This one lands a little bit closer to the T's, as you saw.
So you prefer the one on the other side of the tunnel?
The one that's closest to
the side?
The CT monster guy. And the reason is then you're traveling through a smoke longer if you're a T. If you just pass the smoke and you're rushing B as a T, and it lands on T side of monster, you're going to be past the smoke.
The reason I looked into making that smoke is because I thought if you had a smoke on the CT, on the site side of the monster tunnel, then the Ts could easily burst through it with a flashbang. With a deep flash. So I thought that was more dangerous to CTs, whereas this one is more dangerous to Ts. Because you can't burst through the tunnel, you still have a tunnel to go through, and you're still at a disadvantage running through smoke.
I like that, actually. That makes sense.
See, my grenades are for life, not just for Christmas. It's me running for dear life. These are engagements he does not want to take. Doesn't think it's safe. Oh, he's got some support finally. This is really smart. You see rushing Eco. Get away. Don't give them a weapon. Bring the weapons away. Try and abuse the range or at least get some help from your teammates, especially when you're the AWP. Scarily enough, this is winnable now for Trick. They've got a crossfire on the B bomb site and there's 20 seconds to plant the bomb. So all that carnage, all this talking, and suddenly they're in a really hairy position, but Bubsky really had to hit something there.
No flashes from his teammates there.
Yeah, he just hit the shoulder pads.
That's okay. He got that quad kill. He gets a pass on that one.
Does he?
Yeah, he does. It's not very winnable.
It's a low bar to get a pass from Dan.
I mean, take all the boxes, James.
There was a kill to be had there.
Wow. Either way, it's shaping up fairly well for both teams. We're getting, you know, a pretty competitive half of Overpass here. Lacking some utility, but the firepower is there for Tricked. Aiko almost unable to find his way out in time. And the position will be gained by Big. Around the bathrooms. Ooh, did Aiko, is he able to see there? I'm not sure. I guess not, otherwise he would have taken a shot. And Bubsky will be super careful here. He actually has, I think, a favorable peek. Oh, especially now if the nade's in hand. But oh, well, there we go. It's extremely favorable there. It's me at full cover, able to defend. Oh, wow. I don't think he ever expected another aggression after his orb has finished the cooldown on the reload and everything.
I like Xantares run into B. Literally wrapped from B to Monster.
Another bomb's been rescued. This is the kind of Xantares you want to see, Seek and Destroy.
Yep. He's looking really good so far today. Oh.
Hello. Back to my regular scheduled program with the Molotov. What do you call that position, like opposite graffiti? Because no one really has a name for it.
I call it lower CT. It's
lower
a pretty long name, though.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like CT entrance to B, but that's way too many syllables.
I just call it lower, actually, now that I think about it. If I'm pugging. And even I think Cloud9, they call it lower, pretty sure.
Okay.
I wonder whose call it was for Xantares to run out the door and into B. If it was his own decision making or if Tapsin or someone called it out. But that was a really good play.
Changed the round for the better.
That's why comms are so important. Like every detail, a flash, anything. Because the more players you have in your team that have a sense of what is going on in the game, the more they can take those individual decisions when they're not being micromanaged.
Right.
And make a play if they think that's the right play to make. If they think the likelihood is that the CTs are here and there.
Right after this kill, we see Xantares got out. It was great.
So I think that's what you want to see. Xantares charging in through Monster. I have great memories of that on previous teams, and I'd like to see them on the current team. We are in the last round of the first half, and it is not the best buy for Trick. They've got a Mag 7 on Bubsky, a CZ for Hunden, a Scout for Acor, and an MP9 for Shush. They have prioritized grenades, it seems, to some degree.
Big dump of utility there from Big, but no follow through just yet. Trying to see if the CTs use all their utility first. Which is it's a great approach when you know that it's a low buy for the CTs. Next, looking for any aggression, but Roger playing at this time of the rounds, it's still it's actually kind of can be a nasty position.
The Rogue stick is quite nice. Not on that gun though, but
I think Big could have gotten some more map control off that B fake. They used a lot of utility. They didn't send anyone out Monster, but they also didn't take blue or up mid that fast. We just now see Nex walking up, but I think they used a lot of utility for just be kind of chilling, defaulting around.
Yeah. You feel like it's designed to get position, but also cause rotation, which allows you to get position, and also takes away the CT utility. Pretty plus EV. Let's see what Nex can do here. Oh, two-man setup around the monster tunnel. This is pretty disgusting. There's one, won't expect the second. There goes Shush, just activating immediately. Doesn't let anybody run by. He's got the flank in tow as well. They've got the bomb control. They've picked up some weapons. Nex is on the A bomb side alone. He's unable to help Xantares, now down to 29 health. But it's Xantares, and he is feeling it today for whatever reason. I almost expect him to kill everyone now, James. That's Xantares.
There's 5 seconds on the clock and the round is over because Next is not going to get to the bomb in time to even try to plant it. Smartly at the end, the CT split up to avoid going down together, and that's half time. 1 round lead for Big. We'll see if they can extend it after the break.
Up your game. 128-tick servers for the smoothest, most responsive gaming experience ever. Ensure you game seamlessly with our state-of-the-art FACEIT anti-cheat. Track your progress with advanced stats within your community, country, or region. This is the true ranked experience. Sign up now at faceit.com.
And we're back. Unpause came in a little early, but we got back just in time to see headshots being delivered by Glocks not killing people down, the Bears, and so on. 4 versus 4. Next, holding down the short B position for now. Rojo with a side jump, takes one in the air. There's a man advantage for Big. The smoke almost went up towards the balcony, but I think somebody may have smoked it already. I'm not sure. Or are they holding on to it for now? Slowly creeping away from B. It's a risk for Big to peek short B, but with a man advantage, maybe they'll do that. Smoke is up for now. Hunden with a jiggle. Jiggle wiggle. Not seeing much of anybody just yet. Don't really know where the CTs are now. If they approach A by the toilets, then sound cues will be given to the players on B. And rotation may be prompt.
So utility to get in the bomb sites. We'll see if it helps. Goes Bowski looking for the first around the truck. First is found, but can't find the kills. Xantares is very weak on the HP here. Can't really be allowed to live. Don't let Xantares live. Now Bowski is alone and he'll get taken down by the truck. And there you go. 9-7, Big signing with the economy. So both teams winning their pistols on the CT side. James Glock is really good.
I'm not saying it's bad.
Yeah. I think one of the things that gets me, like that when we played that pod yesterday on Overpass,
Right.
it's just like there was a CT in front of me and I just shot fast, really fast 3 times and got 3 headshots immediately. Just headshot. You just can't do anything close to that with a USB.
Oh yeah, we did win a Glock round.
And I did that to 2 people.
That's
One
on
after the
them.
other.
That's on them. They're not good enough. They were not good enough then.
So that's pretty strong. Get lots of chances. Ooh, this is gonna be some fun for Smooth, yeah. Oh, it's so satisfying killing people with an MP9 who don't have Kevlar.
Can you stop taking screenshots, please?
Like Mac 10s as well.
But it was a 5-man, James.
It was a what? A
It was a 5-man. Ace.
Okay. The teams have split the pistols. Oh, you mean like a team ace?
No, Smooth got 5 kills.
Oh, you got 5 kills. Okay.
You got 4 with an MP9, switch out for DSP because you're on that bullets.
I must make myself another coffee. I did sleep last night. I don't know why. Like I'm too big for small chairs, man. Someone needs to write just about the 6'4" plus people and chairs because it's complicated.
Ask James.
3-round lead for big. Maybe I should just remove the chair and squat like Makalele did that one LAN
Yeah, DreamHack.
when he just didn't use the chair at all.
Well, he got wrecked, so worked out of him. Also looked like an idiot.
I can't
doing
imagine. I can't imagine trying to play game SCS without a chair.
it. Yeah.
Have you ever said Indian style? Cross-leg?
Huh? What?
Cross-leg.
Cross-legged?
Yeah.
I can't. I've got athletic thighs, Valence.
It's a lotus position. Well, the push will come in. Xantares is in position, and he is out of position now. He's out of the round. Good shots, good spacing from Tricked. Working the basics pretty well here with these AK-47s, and it's not really too much Big can do now. This game looks really close. Like, this is exactly what happened. Well, not exactly what happened, but in terms of
It's unpredictable.
the CTs winning 2 rounds and then the Ts winning 1 round. That's what happened in the first half as well. So,
Ooh, that skin's cool.
which one?
It's Mac 10.
Ah,
I've not seen that before.
did you say Mac 10?
MP9. The
Yeah,
MP9.
that's cool. Little, what was that? Was that snakes?
Yeah, it's based on an
Vipers.
operation, I think.
Hydra?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
That's cool.
I'm not. Is that from the new case? It is. Ah, I haven't seen this one before.
What's your favorite color? Caustic green.
Will go great on cash.
Do you know what? I really want the MP9 Bulldozer, but it's really expensive to get a clean version.
Is that like the thing on cache that you just switch to all the most green skins so that no one can find no one can like find the guns when you drop them?
Your eyes would melt. Okay, 10-8. Big have lost their first round of the half. How will they respond? They're not buying within an inch of their economy. They're keeping the money together, so it's a mixed bag. $2,000 to $3,000 for the most part. Close range with the 5-7. I hope these guys go down connector and they kind of split connector with their teammates. Although going into connector, you are exposed to divider. So one must be careful about that. Made a really nice. Ooh, that's a juicy flashbang. Man, I really need to learn that one. That's so strong. Definitely need to add that to the Overpass repertoire. It's easy now with the grenade trajectory command, whatever it's called. I can't remember. I need to add it to my config.
These are the kind of rounds where I wish more T-sided or more teams on T-side used a scout, not the weapon, but used a scout as a person to scout out a bomb site before committing against these kind of mixed buys. If they all go together, maybe they get lucky if they go B here, but it looks like they're going towards A. Either way, you're gambling.
Yeah.
I love the scout plays, and I don't see it enough on T-side against when you have the weapon advantage.
Yeah, you see good examples of it on Inferno sometimes, where somebody will make a late play towards B or towards A to see what's going on there, and they are going straight into a stack, and it is absolute devastation. With that loss of Smuya, they find out where A core is, but he can't possibly. Well, there's only 10 seconds on the clock, 1 versus 2. Maybe he would have otherwise, but indeed, they have perhaps gifted around back to Big.
Yeah, there are some teams that will say, oh, I can afford an AK, but I'm going to buy Mag 10 because this round we need to... Like, there are some teams that have done it in the past, but I completely agree. It's not done nearly enough.
Yeah, it's not even the IGL's fault. I feel like Monster Guy, I think it was Bubsky. he can kind of overcall a little bit, even if Hunden had said, "Hey, let's just end A." Say, "Let me go walk out monster scout B. You guys get ready A." Could be as simple as that. And if he finds an empty B bomb site, they can just come down connector, or just back to B and round one. Either way. So I think it's just a more foolproof way
Yeah.
of playing situations out.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the principle on the T side always has to be never guess. I mean, it's the same for the CT side. Unless you're at such a disadvantage, you have to guess because the risk of getting the info is could be too costly. But the risk of getting the info here versus the risk of walking into a stack is pretty minimal. It's pretty minimal. Because even if it's the case that you see one player or two players or something, and it's just like, okay, well, we're not walking to stack at least. It's still a positive situation. So that's always a big tell when you see it, like on Inferno at the CT side, where they just like gamble stack all the time. It's like, well, this team doesn't really get it.
Very fast charge from Roj, taking plenty of map control. Got the early smokes up. The divider one kind of, oh no, it did land fine actually. That's the advantage of doing the one from T-spawn. Seems like Liquid will favour it from Playground. More play with a slower start. What a 180 from Tizian. How on earth has he done that? That is way more than you could ask for. Trying to reposition, but Shush will not allow him to. 2 versus 3 is very doable for Tricked. I don't know if Tizian got the sound cues for both players. There is some movement up her from these Ts. Igor will get caught off guard. That's the bomb as well. That's going to shut everything down, surely. Where is Shush? Seems they didn't get the second set of sound cues, but now they certainly have. All the info is known now for Big. Honestly, that 2K from Tizian was fantastic. Smeal makes things a little worse, and they will continue to surround him. He has nowhere to go. Off angles being held. Always nice to have that luxury on the CT side. Tabson will creep. But honestly, that was a star play from Tizian.
Yeah. That won them the round for sure. How is he not getting traded there? Hunden, man. He put some bullets in him, but not nearly enough. It seemed like Hunden got maybe like at least like 4 or 5 bullets off there as well, so that's a huge whiff. But I mean, credit to Tizian for being able to just 180 transfer. That's pretty nuts.
It's cool to see too. Tizian got activated in that spot when Nex got that kill indoor, and he had to take that battle. Otherwise, he would be open to 2 angles, and you like to see that he makes that heads-up play.
Trick trying to abuse the numbers. It's a good way to play when you don't have much. Doesn't work out for them, and often it won't. Such is the nature of the round. 13 to 8. There was a pixel boost in the connector. I think it was like above the light on the higher stairs up here. Was it Fours who did it? One game, but it's been patched out of the game now. You would think everybody would know that you can't pixel boost, but always people rising through the ranks with some learning to do. I love this. I love the AWP on the shelves looking towards party with a hold. I think a smoke grenade would have helped. Oh dear, that's painful. And he missed his shot, Smooya. I think you got to drop a smoke in connector just to buy some time.
Sliggy, come on, man. You promised us.
I noticed that kind of setup with the old G2 with Kenny S and Shocks down there a lot. Kenny S would be boosted on the shelves, looking at party, and it was definitely a good setup. I guess they're just hoping that they don't run up blue like Trick just did.
I love running down connector with an AWP and flicking someone on the other end. But the main question is how you escape afterwards. Because it can be a fast response party, which really takes your options away. Speaking of options, there aren't many for Big in this round on the B bomb site. Tizian will fall. And with no frags in this round, Big will surely have to move away. They could really do with holding on to their money for the long term. Next, hiding in plain sight, perhaps. But 2 versus 5, one cannot expect to do much. Ooh, they're going for the boost on the balcony. I love doing this.
With this economy, it's always an interesting call, because I think the CT should try to get up in good exit spots and try to get a couple kills. Because even if they both died, they could buy next round. best case scenario is they keep the T's money low. And looks like they are trying to get in good spots, but
Phelan's, you've got to hoard money, man. You've got to get it under the mattress. You've got to be
Gotta check the boxes.
like old Chinese families, man. You've got to keep it away from the banks. Just stuff it everywhere you can. Hold on to all of it.
how many skins do you have again?
I don't know. A lot.
It's.
Continues to grow.
I reckon you must be near 45k.
What, in my inventory or spent?
Yeah, spending your spends.
I would certainly
on
hope
CS:GO.
not.
It's like a girlfriend at that point.
Is it? I don't know what kind of girlfriend you got, mate. When you trust me, when you buy watches, you don't have no money for the girlfriend, man. Some flowers here or there. You just got to talk.
Treat yourself.
Talk your. That's where the gift of the gab comes in. Spend all your money on yourself, but be amusing. Balance it out.
So this has to be the turning point now for Trick. They're obviously big 3 rounds away from victory in this map, and Tricked need to find a way to stabilize. Big have been performing individually overall a bit better. That's definitely helped Big out in quite a few rounds.
The good news for Big is that last round, they kind of just missed shots. They didn't play it that poorly, so I think they don't have to change too much up. No need to panic. Just hit your shots.
Keep it on. And Big really working connector, and so is Tara splashed in. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? 2 kills, the bomb control. Can't really ask for anything else. And Taurus is having... I haven't seen him play like this in a long time. Obviously, you know, credit to his teammate for getting the flash in there. That was the MVP play. But otherwise, Antares has been playing incredibly well.
That was in the meta for a while, and then people stopped doing it. That flash through the windows and connector.
Yeah.
But it seems like Big is trying to bring it back. Yeah, that is funny how the meta in CS works. Sometimes things that used to work, they fall out of the meta, just become the meta again. It happens a lot. I mean, on Inferno, for example, you haven't seen those wrap smokes to CT for a while, but I'm sure someone will do it, and we're gonna start talking about it again. It's funny how the meta works in CS.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure it must be really useful to have a list of things that are just compile a huge list of things that are in that, like in meta now versus, you know, what was meta but is now like it would now be off meta, like, and then trying to think of like, okay, what can we bring back? What can we bring in?
Yep.
Kind of keep people guessing and innovate. That's I wonder if someone has a list like that. Anyway, we've got the sewers push coming in from Big. Once again, really looking to keep taking control around the connector and sewers. It's working out for them. Smooya will spot a couple players approaching. He'll get a pick. Leaving Hunden alone. His buddy's been taken down. He's going to have to find a new buddy. But the buddy's been taken away. Tissy is back at it again here. More aggression from Big. Don't necessarily have to go for these aggressions, but you know what? It's working out. So, wow, they are out-muscling Tricked pretty hard right now, and that is definitely how they have to win. The only way that they should be able to win against Tricked. That's the leverage they have as a team for sure, and it's working.
I feel like the MVP of this game has been Flashbangs.
Yeah,
Both sides. Upski on that CT side for barrels, and it just Big is using them everywhere now. Connector, mid, monster there.
Well, look at the big flashbangs. I don't know how accurate that stat actually is, but we're gonna just pretend it is.
What, the enemy's flashed?
Yeah.
It's overly generous at present.
I always think effective flash as well.
Yeah.
I feel like effective flash would make more sense. Like maybe a flash turns into a kill.
Separate them. The flash assists are misleading. I'll say that much. They are overly generous. But anyway. Creep, where's the flashbang? Speaking of flashes. Speaking of flashes, why you no flash? Against game point, that is such a large risk.
Yeah, maybe they just didn't expect there to be such heavy bathrooms presence. Big haven't been playing bathrooms so heavily generally. So
Just have one person there, that'll be enough.
You know what assuming does, then?
yes, assumptions are
That's
bad.
That's a shame. It's a shame that it will end this way, and the flashbangs continue from the CT side at the very least. 16-9 for Big, tricked. Oh, that was a rough last round for them, and it's all over. Xantares with a big performance, no pun intended. It's about time he saw one of those.
Yeah, it's been ages. It really feels like he's just not really been that impactful on this team, but this was a game where it felt like, it wasn't just that he was impactful, but it felt like he was placed in positions by his team to be the guy that could deliver, and he did deliver, and he did it in Xantares fashion, so that's really encouraging. And I really think that Big really heavily outmuscled, tricked here. I think we really saw a big difference across the boards in terms of individual performances. We didn't see A-Core go off, and A-Core, you know, he's definitely one of the guys that you would expect to see on Tricked. Hopefully he can get some action going in the next map.
That was a great one, Tizian. Marvelous work. Yeah, so Tricked will start on the back foot. They started on the CT side, but weren't able to close things out, and Xantares with an absurd amount of damage, almost 3,300, with so many more rounds to play. That really tells you just how much damage he did. 10 assists as well, so he was lighting everybody up. And that will be the first map in the bag for Big. Again, an unpredictable team. We would like to see some consistency. Maybe it starts now. They win Overpass. Can they win Dust 2? That's the second map in this best of 3 series, and it comes up next after the break.